What's going on, everyone? Technical issues are a wonderful thing. Anyway, my name is Myles Farrington, and I am here with my co-host.
Adam Leonard.
Chris Cobb.
Oh yeah. By the way, Chris is back. That's the thing that's happening right now. I'm pointing that way, even though I know good and well he's down there. Anyway, we're here to bring you episode 170 of the MONG podcast, and the title is that just sounds grand. I made this like 2 weeks ago, so if I don't remember things, that's why. Anyway. Again, Chris is back. Say hello to the people that have missed you so.
Hello, people. Nobody missed me.
We missed you. Come on now. Don't
I
be like
missed
that.
you.
Yeah. You were a neighborhood horror fanboy. There you go. Even though we both like horror, it's fine. Whatever.
All of us like horror, really. I mean, Until Dawn's like one of my favorite games.
There you go. But, of course, we're here to bring you the video game news that you all love. But we're going to go ahead and jump over to the website and talk about what has happened since we were last here. There has been a review of Rime from Mr. Harry, our EIC, because I'm not going to keep trying to pronounce his last name because I cannot. Harry Larry, yep, that's the dude who's been in Chris's spot for the last couple weeks. So he reviewed Rime. Darius Purse talking about Hit the Lanes in the Ultimate Tekken Bowl, which is literally bowling in Tekken, which sounds really dumb, but if it's anything like what I remember, it's really fun. And, of course, this guy right here, Chris the Cornman Cobb, did an interview exclusive with Invader Studios, the developers of Daymare 1998, and that's neat, and he put that up on the site, so you should definitely read that if you're into the aforementioned horror and all that. And then some guy that never writes anything, this guy wrote about the state of this website we're on right now, Twitch. So that's another thing you can go check out if you want to see what's going on in the world of Twitch and hear my opinions on it, kind of. And Darius Purse, of course, talking about Kurt Angle is heading to WWE 20K18. That's a big number. 2K18 as a pre-order bonus, and Ubisoft Passionate E3. Ubisoft's Passionate E3 and the Pain of a Hostile Takeover from Brett Williams. That's editorial. I have no idea what it's about, but you should go check it out if you want to find out what it's about. And of course, let me swallow my spit. If you would like to write or make music or make video or make art or whatever with the Mom Podcast and have your name mentioned when we go through this little bit of information that happened since we last saw you, then you can check out that link that is at the bottom of... I did not say Ubisoft, I said Ubisoft. That's at the bottom of wherever you're watching or listening to this at, and that'll lead you to a... recruitment thing. It'll lead you to a application where you can fill that out really easy and then send it in, and there you go. You might be added to the team. Who knows? And of course, if you like to hang out with us, we do have an official Discord. The link to that is in the bottom, and that's where you can go to just chat, or if you want to suggest thoughts from nowhere, there's a space for that, and definitely get in there and check that out and all that good stuff. Rolling on along, gentlemen, let's go on talking about our week's summarize. Since how long has it been since we last podcast? Was it last week or the week before?
It was a week before. We took it off for the holiday.
Okay, I thought so. Yes, okay. That sounds right. I believe you because I have a bad sense of time. Anyway, what's been going on with you? And we're going to summarize because we don't want to go through 6 weeks under technicality. Adam.
Yes. So in the last week, I have started playing Mass Effect Andromeda. Finally got it at the price of $20. That's what I wanted to pay for it.
Where'd you get it for $20?
GameStop.
Oh, all right.
They did over right around the 4th. They did a kind of a bunch of different sales, and that was finally the price point that I was wanting to jump in on. And it's kind of interesting. I don't know if more work was done while I was in the midst of playing it, because I remember at first, I thought, I thought at first. There was some kind of issues. I thought that there was some really jarring editing stuff going on, and some of the graphics and facial animations weren't very pretty, which is no shocker because that's what everybody's been saying.
Yeah.
But as I kind of got deeper into it, as I got out of the tutorial and more into the game itself, I've started noticing those flaws less. So I'm hoping that's an indication they've been working on it. But I'm actually having a really good time with it so far, and. So far, like I said, I think it's been pretty compelling. I can't help but wonder if maybe part of the reason, other than the obvious technical and graphical issues, part of the reason people were so harsh on the game is that because the game stakes-wise is a very different game than the original Mass Effect trilogy. Because the original Mass Effect trilogy is very high stakes. You're this dude who has to essentially save the world, and it feels like comparatively Andromeda stakes are a little bit lower because basically you're like a pioneer trying to settle, like, you know, trying to like colonize a galaxy. And while there are stakes and there are, you know, stuff going down, it's not like the world's gonna end and you got to stop it.
True. I feel like arguably these stakes are higher because you have to literally find a home for people. But
I guess that's true.
I don't know. I guess eventually I'll try it out. Would you suggest it as what you played currently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually think it's pretty interesting. I also think it's really hard because I think that they had a task that I don't think they're ever going to succeed at in front of them, which is to create like a more memorable cast than the original Mass Effect trilogy cast, which it's just kind of like almost impossible to do because that's some of the greatest gaming characters ever made. But I so far I do like the cast that I've encountered so far, and so as far as I'm in it, I would actually recommend it. I mean, maybe if you've waited this far and then you find a good deal on it, I don't know if you're going to find as much to be disappointed in.
All right, that's good because I mean I'm a huge fan of Mass Effect, and this was the one that I wasn't going to play because I just heard all the negatives and I was like, I could avoid this and save 30 hours and $60, etc., etc. But all right.
So, and then I have some other geek media stuff that I think we're all going to talk about because, first of all, one that is video game related is, surprise, surprise, the Castlevania TV series hit Netflix. It's 4 episodes long, which is kind of weird, but I actually dug it.
Yeah.
Particularly by the end, I wanted more by the end of episode 4. I'm like, I can't wait to see this go forward. And yeah, it's good. Just altogether too brief.
Yeah, I was definitely not planning on watching it. I think one of my friends just randomly was like, "Hey, we're gonna watch the first episode of this." Then we just sat there and watched all 4 episodes. It was really good, and this is coming from someone who's only played one Castlevania because I think Portrait of Ruin, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's this one.
Yeah, that's the one I played. And I really enjoyed it, but it's just like I never really got into the story of Castlevania, but they actually were able to keep me interested. It's like, oh, and it was very funny actually. I enjoyed Belmont's humor. That was really enjoyable, and holy God, it's gory. Like the eyeball getting whipped out and just splattering on the wall, but it was fun. It was a good watch.
I feel like they kind of managed to craft Trevor Belmont into pretty much every like lead male anime character ever, kind of. Which is not a bad thing, but yeah, but that served the series well, I thought, especially because like everything else about it is so dark and bleak that having this character that provides some sort of comic relief in contrast to that is kind of fun. It's also like always cool to have that duality where he may seem kind of goofy and incompetent, but secretly, like when pushed to the wall, he's kind of a badass.
Yeah, and it was It was a little funny because the friends I was watching it with, 2 of them apparently never realized that Alucard is Dracula spelled backwards. So they're just sitting there, and one of them just like having that look on his face. He just looks at me. I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Alucard is Dracula spelled backwards." I was like, I don't know if I want to make you feel dumb or if I want to just be like, "Oh my God, it is," and lie to your face. But I made him feel dumb because that's more enjoyable.
Alucard, like a total '90s. Like, let's try to make the edgiest and coolest character possible.
Yep.
He's Dracula's son, and his name is Dracula spelled backwards.
And he wears leather pants and no shirt and has long hair.
He was Hot Topic before Hot Topic existed.
Exactly.
He was.
Now, Chris, did you said you watched it, right?
I watched the first 2 episodes. It didn't grab me as much as it seemed to you guys. It primarily because Trevor, that's the Belmont's name, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He was mildly irritating me because he seemed like he was doing an impression of Jack Sparrow, at least in the second episode, which is where I stopped. And I was like, I don't even really like Jack Sparrow anymore. I'm not sure I want to knock off Jack Sparrow. But I'll probably finish it at some point just because it's only 4 episodes.
Hold on. He was Jack Sparrow before Jack Sparrow was Jack Sparrow, okay? He came first. Technically.
Did he have that voice, though, and that personality? Did Trevor even have a personality in those old Castlevania games?
Yes. No. Didn't he? A little bit?
Maybe like some text.
Yeah, he had some lines. That's
But
better
the whole playing dumb and drunk thing, and actually I'm not even sure if he was playing drunk. I think he was drunk and was still
in the beginning. He was definitely drunk.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, him and it's just some weird background stuff kind of annoyed me, like the weird story with the goat in the bar that just seemed like it went on a little bit longer than it should have. I don't know.
You don't like a little bit of goat fucking in your anime?
Okay, we're just gonna say it.
It's been said.
No, I don't. Nah.
He definitely was not afraid to wear its like R rating on his sleeve.
No, they
there was a baby that was just straight up hanging out of a demon's mouth as it was running by. That's
also nothing.
I mean,
I actually rewound it. I was like, wait a minute, was that a doll or was that a baby? That's a friggin' baby.
Well, I mean, where else a baby supposed to be but in demon mouths? That's how the world works, Chris. One day you'll learn.
But then I actually like how it cut from that scene to the mom in the house staring at the crib where it was, and then her other son was like bloody and dying in the corner, and her husband was dead. I was like, wow, that is some bleak stuff.
Yeah, they went dark. They went real dark on this.
They did.
It was good though. It was good. I enjoyed it. But Chris, what tell us what you did with your week, and then I guess we'll talk a little bit about Spider-Man because
we need to get to that eventually.
Yeah.
One accomplishment that finally came about was after about a year-long break, I finished Bloodborne.
Hey!
And I wish I could actually go back in time and tell myself from a year ago that I was only 4 hours from the end, so that I could have, yeah. That was a weird thing. I was like, I guess I'll finish the second half of Bloodborne. I sit down 4 hours later, credits rolling. I'm like, well, that's not the journey I was expecting.
Where did you pick up from?
Oh man, I'm having trouble remembering the boss's names now. Amygdala. I had just killed Amygdala.
Okay.
And from there, I basically just had the wet nurse left to deal with. And
I think Mikulesh, host of Nightmares.
Yeah. And then I had to fight Gehrman. And then that was it. So yeah, about 4 hours and I was done. I was like, well, I guess I'll go back to Dark Souls now.
But what a 4 hours? I mean, like, screw Winter Lanterns, am I right?
Yeah.
I feel like four bosses in 4 hours is really good for that game. But that's just based on my experience.
Maybe, I'm not really sure. But yeah, I'm doubling down on the fact that is my favorite art style in all of gaming. And possibly my favorite level design, actually by far favorite level design, possibly favorite enemy design too. That game is just brilliant all across the board.
I agree on every single one of those points. I mean, basically all of that was done so well that I was not a Dark Souls person, and I basically became one so I could play that game.
Yeah, I agree there.
You all can enjoy it because I'm still never going to finish that game. I completely accept that. But my week has been generally just playing a lot of random games on my computer. I got into Paladins. That game is not as bad as everyone would like you to think it is. It's actually pretty fun. I can definitely see all the comparisons and being like, it's just a rip-off of Overwatch. Yes, there are very similar abilities and there are some very similar characters, but it plays differently. It's a lot less stressful, in my opinion. I mean, like, if you're playing against a good team, it's not going to be easy, but it is definitely, like, it's smoother, I guess. I don't know how to put it, but that is a really fun game that I actually think everyone should try, especially since it's free, so there's not really a reason not to. And then beyond that, let's just go ahead and talk about Spider-Man, because I don't really have any other games to talk about that I played this week. Spider-Man was really good.
Yes.
It was okay.
Get out. You're never welcome here again. In my opinion, I thought it was a really solid movie. It stood well on its own feet, not just as a Spider-Man movie. It was like a good coming-of-age flick, as well as like, oh, this is funny. And oh, Michael Keaton has one of the best parts in the whole movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. He's one of Marvel's better villains, by far.
Yeah.
Especially, like, not since Loki has there even been a noteworthy villain. So it's been a while. I mean, Ultron. I didn't like Ultron very much. I don't know if you guys are different, but I didn't like Baron. Was it Baron Mordo? I can't. No, actually, no. Mordo was okay, but Baron, dude from Civil War. I'm brain farting on his name right now.
See, yeah, I think he gets a bad rap. I think he's like an incredibly, like, yeah, and they might have been able to do more with him, but I kind of liked the concept of Baron Zemo because after all of these, like, you know, basically them rolling out all of these villains one after the other that are all these, you know, megalomaniacs with like ambitions on taking over the world. I thought it was really cool that it became real simple. This was just a guy, he didn't want to take over the world. He was just a guy who lost his family, who wanted to see people answer for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like I would have liked him better if his name wasn't Baron Zemo. Well, they didn't use Baron, but Zemo. I'm looking forward to see. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him down the line because he's still in play. It's not like he got killed off like 90% of Marvel's villains.
You also think, like, at least personally, go ahead.
No, I was gonna disagree. Then it's like a lot of them have kind of boofed, but
I'll give a nod to Kurt Russell from the latest Guardians.
Yeah, I mean he's dead now, but he was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he served that film well, and he was something kind of different. In fact, I think like basically like Guardians of the Galaxy was essentially, in my opinion, making fun of like the stereotypical like Marvel Cinematic Universe villain with like those gold, like that race of gold people, because they were kind of almost just like directly making fun of that kind of that silliness. But I thought Kurt Russell was actually a pretty effective bad guy.
I mean,
spoilers if you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I know he's the bad guy. Come on. Actually, no. I guess if you have not read the comics, you just have no knowledge. Then yeah, you might be like, oh, he's just his dad. He's a planet. That's weird, but that's cool. He's a good guy. It's like, haha, no, he's not. He's never been a good guy. But yeah, no. I thought this was. I'm really tired of them rebooting this series, even though I know in this case it's Marvel getting it back. But I think this was a really solid reboot, and I was kind of uneasy about Tom Holland, and I guess I just didn't like his face or something. But after having seen the movie, it's like, oh, he did the job pretty well. I like it. And they had some funny bits, like the very ending with what the. That was wonderful.
I thought it was very good. I will say that I firmly believe it's not better than Spider-Man 2. Maybe Spider-Man 1, though I had to kind of process that more because I guess what I missed, like I guess that I missed about the original Spider-Man, and is that there was just like a little bit of more weight there. Like everything was just like important and meant a little bit more. You kind of felt more of the burden that Peter Parker bears. And I think this film kind of decided to go the opposite direction and try to like be a little more light and effervescent and fun. But as a result, we don't get a scene like the train scene in Spider-Man 2, which I think is kind of iconic for that and kind of important to that character.
Oh, the part where they're like carrying him and lifting him out.
Yeah. But I mean, it was really good though. There was nothing I disliked about it. I thought the cast was great. The supporting cast was kind of amazing. Like I said, yeah, Michael Keaton is one of the best Marvel villains. I thought he fit really well into there. They seem to have a pretty good potential lead on a new villain because, you know, obviously, spoiler alert, but it's not really a spoiler alert, I guess. But, you know, obviously they are teasing the possibility that Michael Mando could go on to play Scorpion.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm very happy about that. Scorpion is an underrated Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
And he could look really awesome in live action.
True. Very true. Especially if they... I feel like it would just be a lot of CG, but it would still look good. I mean, if they can make the Transformers, however ugly but beautiful they were, like all the moving parts is really neat. Everything else looked bad to me, but you know, if they can make that look good, then they can make the Scorpion look good. As
long as they don't go the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Rhino route, where it's just he's in a Scorpion robot, he's in a Scorpion mech suit.
Hey, everyone loves mechs.
Film could have used at least 20% more Donald Glover.
Yeah, that's true. No, you come back and fix this.
Yeah, they did a really good job of deploying like some comic actors throughout the entire thing. Of course, him and also Hannibal Buress and Martin Starr were both pretty wonderful in that movie.
You know,
Hey, Captain America, man.
Oh, that was.
oh yeah, that was
I was
hilarious.
considering it was like 2 a.m. when I saw that part. I was legitimately a little bit upset. Like I was sitting there just like waiting for something. Then it comes on. I'm like, that was funny and meta, but I wish it weren't 2 a.m. when I'm watching this.
Now, my favorite part about Donald Glover's role was that he's even playing Miles Morales' uncle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice little detail.
He's Prowler.
I didn't even catch it the first time around. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to find that out in one of those Easter egg YouTube videos. But yeah, I'll definitely have to watch Homecoming a second time. It's because this is, I think what threw me off is this is just so different from the Sony Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were no epic web swinging scenes through the city where it's just nonstop CGI. They in fact they went the opposite way and showed us what happens when he doesn't have anything to swing from.
Exactly, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this is intentional that they're not doing the things that Sony did.
It was so
and there's like a check mark throughout the entire movie of doing the opposite of what Sony did, which I wonder if Sony even realizes what a slap in the face that probably is to them. But there were little pieces of brilliance in there.
Yeah.
But boy, did I dislike Ned. I did not like Ned.
Really?
I don't like man in the chair characters anyway, and the fact that he
Literally
gets to
wants
do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, man. So you're the comical sidekick and man in the chair. Huh? Boy, the odds are stacked against you.
Why not?
So,
Well, like the man in the chair is oftentimes the comical side character.
Sometimes they should be, and then like Felicity and Arrow, they completely botch it and make it so she's completely unlikable in
Okay.
that role.
Would you rather have Ned or would you rather have Felicity?
I mean, I'd rather shoot myself, but if I have to have one, Ned, I guess I can deal with.
There you go.
He
What'd
likes
you think-
Lego.
What do you think of the reinvention of Flash Thompson?
Oh, he's certainly a dick.
Yeah.
I like that actor a lot, so I was kind of interested to see what they were going for, because when he got cast, I'm like, he is totally not like the typical Flash Thompson type.
Oh, he pulled it off. He did well, making me hate
I
him.
wasn't too much of a fan of this Flash. Because it's weird, because he's on their little team too, competing, and I'm like, boy, that's a change. Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. But you know what will never change?
Oh boy.
The news from nowhere.
There we go. I pressed the button. Let's go and move on to the news. Not to cut us off, but we are going a little long. And I am actually very tired, even though I didn't work today. So, our first bit of news today is about a game that's actually old, but still in beta. Amazingly, if you didn't know that. Anyway, Warframe, a game that I know and love and spent a lot of time in, is getting a substantial open world expansion later this year. According to developer Digital Extreme's announcement on PlayStation Blog, the expansion is titled Plains of Eidolon and will drop players into a large open world called Landscapes, which you can explore at your own pace, and you can check out the you can check out the teaser trailers. Players will no longer just be completing a series of procedurally generated missions, as you can now explore environments with day and night cycles, including the wide open Eidolon Plains and the central town Cetus, which resembles a tribal open market where players can get quests. You'll be able to interact with up to 49 other players within Cetus and take on missions outside of the town with online squads of up to 4 players, and players will encounter vicious enemies in the plain, such as the hulking spectral sentient that can call in and can call in Arcwing for fast travel and combat. This is really neat. One of the biggest detractors of Warframe, I feel like, for even experienced people and people who are just trying it out, is that it is very, okay, you're going to be dropped in this map, you got hallways. Go down those hallways and kill things. Alright, congratulations, you went down the hallway and killed things. So, I actually watched the video, and Jesus, it looks really big, and it looks like there's a lot to figure out and do, and then of course you have the movement of Warframe and all the abilities, so it's like, it looks like a lot of fun to me. I might actually have to take a third step back into Warframe. Either of you seen any of the information?
I hadn't heard about this. And I only played Warframe for a little bit, specifically because it got boring quick, because it was drop in, go down this hallway, you're done. So this could actually be something I would jump back into.
Yeah. I was about to say Warframe's a lot better and only playable with friends, and then I realized the first like 150 to 200 hours I spent in that game was playing alone. So, but yeah, definitely worth checking out for anyone. Again, it's one of those. It's a free to play game. You pay for convenience, but free to play. So definitely, if anyone thinks that sounds interesting, give it a shot. No one doesn't like double negatives and space ninjas with super cool special abilities. But all right, gentlemen, we can go ahead and move on.
Yeah. So when we did our show about E3, we were talking a lot about the SpiderMans. And I know that there was some concerns about whether it was an open world or not. And I believe we now have our answer. Spider-Man PS4's open world, several times larger than Sunset Overdrive. The New York you'll be swinging through the upcoming Spider-Man or PS4 Spider-Man game will be a big one, several times larger than Insomniac's last open world, Sunset City. The setting for Sunset Overdrive. The developer made the comparison on Twitter after a fan asked him to compare it to the size of Witcher 3. Hey guys, it's just a quick question. Compared to the Witcher 3 map, how big is NY? They said NCY, which is not correct. NYC in Spider-Man PS4. Insomniac replied, that's not a comparison we can really make. It's several times larger than Sunset City was, though. Sunset Overdrive wasn't small either. The company said Xbox One exclusive was the biggest game we've ever made. It might be simply a matter of practicality. While Sunset Overdrive features some speedy traversal, Spider-Man's web slinging looks a great deal faster in the footage we've seen so far. Being able to reach the other end of the map in mere minutes wouldn't feel particularly satisfying. Anyways, so that's more or less the article. That's kind of cool to hear because obviously I think Spider-Man should be a really big open world game, and so it's nice to hear some final confirmation that there's no doubt that what we saw was just simply an encounter or a mission within a larger map. And that makes me excited because I still remember the first time playing Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 2 and the revelation of being able to swing around New York.
Yeah, Spider-Man's one of those characters that, like, the more playgrounds you have to play in, with most characters, the more area you have to explore and mess around in, even the better. But with Spider-Man, it's just like, with the verticality of his character, that just makes it all the more enjoyable, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I admit, any game I play that I can go up in, I will go to the highest point I can and jump off, even if I know exactly what's going to happen when I get to the bottom. It's still fun to me.
I feel bad because it sounds like I just try to go out of my way to argue against you guys. The E3 trailer, first of all, made me look forward to the game less. Huge open world makes me look forward to it even less than that. The Spider-Man games I like are the linear ones, going back to the PS1, and then Shattered Dimensions and its sequel, and even Friend or Foe I enjoyed. I like the linear, ones that are more combat focused than side mission stuff, open world swinging. I don't know. But I'm in a particular mood now. I'm sure you guys remember of open world fatigue, so that doesn't help either.
That's why you're not allowed to have nice things, Chris.
Yeah. I also didn't like the focus on QTEs in that E3 trailer. That was the primary thing that annoyed me.
I feel like a lot of people are reading too. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I can agree with that. I'm not the biggest fan of the Arkham combat system, and it resembled that a lot, but even more so to me. Just, like, I understood why they did it, because he has spider sense, but at the same time, I was like, that annoys the mess out of me.
I just think that people are, like, a little too overly focused on the quick time events from that trailer. It's like people are, like, reading it as if the whole game is going to be one big quick time event.
Oh, no, that's dumb.
Which would be kind of hilarious if it was, but...
It's because they showed off a section, and there were just so many QTEs in that section, so... if it's like that throughout the entire game, it will be unbearable to people like me. But if it's not, then, that's even better.
I guess it doesn't bother me as much, because I kind of feel like I kind of feel like they're trying to go for a cinematic style look to the game, and so sometimes one way to craft some of those cinematic moments is through the utilization of QuickTime events. I mean, as long as like the whole game's not QuickTime events, and there's a fair amount of me getting actually able to control the combat, I have QuickTime events just don't bother me that much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, grand scheme of things, the game is still not far out, but it's still got time, so we definitely haven't seen much of it. And what we did see could be such a small vertical slice that it won't even matter. But yeah, shall we hop skip along and charge into the next whatever? It's about batteries.
Oh, that was gonna be a good one. Why'd you stop?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, well, Kotaku is giving me an issue right now.
Oh, is it telling you to whitelist them?
Yeah. So hold on just a second. That's never happened to me before.
You don't have to whitelist them. Just press the X. Don't give them ad revenue.
Well, I have to I have to refresh now because this something went wrong.
Oh,
more like no taku. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't like.
You are correct. Yes.
I'm not the biggest fans.
Okay, yeah, me either. But I was desperate. I about 20 minutes before we started the podcast, I was just scouring everything looking for something to read. So,
Halt. Do you actually care about this story? Because I don't know if I thought you were here when we established that rule.
I think this one for Switch owners. I personally don't because I'm not a Switch owner yet. But it's a very quick read. It's a very quick read. The next one I will drop because I don't care.
Fair enough.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. If your Switch's battery appears to drain rapidly, it might be an issue with the battery indicator and not your actual battery. Since launch, some Switch owners have intermittently reported issues with the battery draining rapidly. This recent video from YouTube channel Switch Force shows, which oddly enough, the video is not even showing up on my page. Again, issues. This recent video from Switch Force shows a couple egregious examples. One person's battery drains from 100% to 1% in a minute. Yeah, so basically it's just the battery indicator itself that is completely dead wrong when it's having these issues, because the batteries will last up to 45 and apparently in at least one case up to 3 hours after it says it's on 1%. So yeah, you really don't have anything to worry about. You more than likely don't have a bad battery, even if it seems like it. So that's it. I'm done. Goodbye, Kotaku.
No, I'm just watching this video now. It's literally draining like a percentage a minute. Or a second. That's disgusting. Y'all should fix that, Nintendo. I'm gonna summarize what my story is, mainly because I'm pretty sure I covered it last year. But I'd just like to give a shout out to Guardian Con. Guardian Con is a charity event that started with Destiny, and a lot of Destiny streamers got together, and three of the top Destiny streamers got together and created this wonderful thing. It's a convention that has a bunch of charity streams leading up to it, where all the money donated is sent straight to what do they call it? St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And pretty much this year they raised $1.2 million for St. Jude's. So there's not really much else to say beyond that. King Gothalion, Professor Broman, K Magic 101. They're the three people that created this and kind of run it and make sure it goes off without a hitch. And I want to congratulate them and all of the other mini streamers who streamed during the charity to just raise all that good money for the kids and the people that need it. So a light clap to them. And that is my second story. Oh, of course, we're not going to forget Summer Games Done Quick also is a charity event for Doctors Without Borders, and I don't know how much money they raised this year, but they also raised a lot of money this year. They might still be going, actually. I'm not sure, but go check that out because it's also a speed running event. It's really neat to watch. All right, go ahead. Next story.
WWE 2K18 is coming for the Nintendo Switch. WWE 2K18 will now be released on Nintendo Switch as well as PS4 and Xbox One. Announced in a video by cover star Seth Rollins, this will be the first WWE game on a Nintendo console since WWE 13 on Wii. And there's a video where he's talking about the game. The video does not mention a release date, while PC and Xbox versions will arrive on October 17th. PC entries in the series... while PC and Xbox versions will arrive on October 17th. PC entries in the series usually release several months later, and maybe the Switch version will follow a similar pattern. Also unmentioned is how the game will be adapted for the less powerful hardware. EA Sports FIFA 18, for instance, is being released on Switch using a different engine and fewer features than its PS4 and Xbox One counterparts. One detail included in the announcement is those who pre-order will unlock 2 versions of Kurt Angle as a playable character. We contacted 2K for more information on the Switch version. Update. 2K released new details about the Switch version of the game, including the fact that it will release along PS4 and Xbox One versions on October 17th. It's unclear if the Switch will get a deluxe version that allows for early access, however. 2K has also confirmed that the upgrades being made to the already announced version, alterations to My Career Mode, added customization options, and more are included. The press release also implies that a new rendering engine is being used in the Switch version. Update 2. 2K has corrected the error in its original press release. WWE 2K18 is scheduled for a fall 2017 release on the Nintendo Switch. Fall officially ends mid-December, so this could mean a 2-month wait after the PS4 and Xbox One versions arrive, or it could simply be a way to allow for any unexpected delays in production that would cause the new version to miss an intended October 17th release. This is good because I like the fact that you were seeing more support for the Switch, because God knows it's one of the things that needs to thrive and survive. On the other hand, to be completely honest, I do pretty much buy this game every year. I'm not going to get it for Switch simply because this is the other problem, is that when you're trying to compete with the same games, it's like the PS4 and Xbox One. Guess what? I'm going to go to the more powerful console because I know there's going to be some kind of difference in that game.
Yeah, wrestling. I don't really have an opinion on this, but I mean, it's good to know that this Switch, as you said, is getting a little bit more support. Because I wasn't really interested to get one at the beginning, and my main problem was that there was one thing I want on it, and that's Pokemon, and I guess Mario Odyssey, and nothing else. So, hey, keep putting games on that thing.
You mean you don't want ARMS?
Not really. ARMS did not look interesting to me.
You're like the only person on Earth who didn't want to play Breath of the Wild.
I did, and then I saw it played, and I was like, oh, I don't want to play this anymore.
Seems to be like 90% of games for Miles.
Yeah, I get really hyped over a game, and then I see it, and it's like, okay, it's not as interesting as I thought it would be. Like No Man's Sky, or Breath of the Wild. I don't like my weapons breaking. That really annoys me.
Those two games do not belong in the same sentence.
I'm just saying, no, in the context, they're fine together. If you're like comparing games, yeah, no, you shouldn't compare those two games. But yeah, there you go. So, gentlemen, shall we move on to a thought from nowhere?
Yes.
After the free stories. Free stories this week are literally just stories that are in the doc that we didn't cover because of lack of interest or something. Usually it's something I put in there because I thought was interesting but didn't actually want to cover. Anyway, PlayStation Plus titles have been revealed for July. Go check that out on the PlayStation blog or wherever.
Until Dawn, go play it. It's amazing and it's free.
Yeah, Until Dawn is one of the free games that you have no reason not to play it now. It's a fun game. It's very interesting. I could actually finish it now since I did not last time. And of course, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 Switch release date announced. Speaking of support for the Switch, hey, there's that. If you want to play Dragon Ball Xenoverse, play it, but it's an okay game.
And it has added motion controls to do Kamehamehas, which doesn't sound great.
Okay, yeah, don't do that. Anyway.
As long as it's not the stupid interpretive dance from the movie. Dragon Ball Evolution. Remember?
Shut up.
That's stupid. Yeah,
no one remembers.
that happened.
No one remembers.
I'll never forget.
Anyway, a thought from nowhere comes to us from our stalwart fan, Lord Jesus Crust. So, hey guys, I was wondering, what game soundtracks do you listen to outside of the game, and what about those soundtracks make you want to listen to them outside of the game? I personally listen to Persona 3 through 5 soundtrack, all of Guilty Gear Xr's soundtracks, the Shovel Knight soundtrack, and the Skullgirls soundtrack, all because they first and foremost aim to be good music in the genre that they were themed around. And second, to fit the game, so they scratch both itches of listening to something good in that genre and reminded me of the game really well. I am criminally... I don't know what the word was. I have it sentence formed and then I lost it. Anyway, I am very... I do this a lot where really good games, I actually care more about the music than I do the game itself. Like Bastion, Transistor, I have experienced more of their music than I have the actual game. Killer Instinct, the Fury soundtrack was absolutely amazing. Even Doom had a really good soundtrack. Pretty much anything with Mick Gordon on it. He is an amazing musical artist. Go with that. Anyway, yeah, those are the games that I have on my iPod or soundtracks, and I listen to very frequently.
I am not the hugest like video game score person, just basically because I don't like I don't listen to a lot of instrumental music. But I guess like the stuff that I do have like on my little like iTunes list of like Take It to Go stuff on my phone. I do have the soundtrack of Persona 4 because it is kind of awesome and it's got a lot of variety to it, and so I genuinely do like that soundtrack. I one time thought it would be a good idea to put the Ocarina of Time soundtrack on my phone, but it's like really annoying and I should probably just remove it now because I never listen to any of the songs and they come up all the time, but there's like a gazillion tracks. Mm-hmm. And the only other thing I have, which will tell you something because it's not an instrumental song, that's probably the reason I like it so much, is I do have the theme song to Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater on my phone.
Nice.
Because that song is friggin' rad. It's totally like a James Bond ripoff song, and I love it for that. Yeah. And yeah, it makes me slightly emotional when I hear it. It reminds me of that game.
I can dig it.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Kingdom Hearts because it has a weird mix of like epic battle music and J-pop. It's just so weird that it works. And the Final Fantasy series, specifically 7 and 8, have a lot of music that I love. And being able to listen to those in Final Fantasy 15, during the road trip sections, that was probably my favorite aspect of Final Fantasy 15.
Nice.
And special shout out to Moonlight Sonata, which was used in the original Resident Evil and in a few of the others. That is still one of my favorite like piano tunes to listen to.
It kind of upsets me that, and I've looked before, believe me, that Simple and Clean is not a song you can get off of iTunes.
Oh, you can get that song, though.
Oh, I can get it. There's because I really like both versions of that, and there's also a really good, there's like one other song from Kingdom Hearts that I really, really like. That kind of is kind of a flourish instrumental version of Simple and Clean. That's pretty awesome. That I think plays like right towards the end of the game. Because yeah, that has a really good soundtrack. I didn't even think about that. That I dig that soundtrack a lot. And then you said something right after Kingdom Hearts that Final Fantasy has really good music. Particularly, I really like the classical Crystal theme. I think that's like one of the better video game songs ever.
Yeah, I despite never finishing Final Fantasy VIII, one of my favorite like pieces of video game music is the Balam Garden theme. That's what I listened to the most while I was playing Final Fantasy 15. It's just so serene and calming.
There you go. That's the stuff that we listen to. Also, Adam, since you like lyrics, I would definitely suggest the Transistor soundtrack and God, what game was it? I think Bastion has some music with actual lyrics.
I'll have to revisit that because I've played through both of them, and I do remember like the music being noteworthy in in
Transistor.
I just unfortunately it's just been long enough I can't really remember much about it. I'll also give a special shout out to a soundtrack that I don't have, but it's a game I played recently that I would consider getting. Is the soundtrack for Nier Automata is actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I almost blanked on this, but Alan Wake is another one.
Oh man, that soundtrack's friggin' rad.
Yes, and it's a real band. It's Poets of the Fall, but they're posing as the old gods of Asgard, like within the game's universe. But there are, I think, 3 or 4 songs that they do, and they are fantastic. Especially the one I will never forget because there's a segment of gameplay built around that song playing.
Oh, the war song.
Yes, and it is amazing. One of my favorite video game moments of all time.
Yeah, like actually, I'm so glad you reminded me because that is like literally like the one of my favorite game soundtracks, and now I'm gonna have to go find it again. Simply because I really liked it because like the way they used the songs in it is essentially it's like a TV format, and so I love the fact that at the end of each big revelation, it's like end of an episode, it plays some song that makes you sit there and just kind of like reflect on what you've just been through.
Yeah.
The Lady of the Light song was by far my favorite.
I was just about to mention that one.
Because like once again, like I just remember that ending, just going like, oh holy crap, like what's going on here? That game is so freaking rad. I love that game so much.
And we'll never get part 2.
I know, and it
never
bums
gonna
me
happen.
out because I'm so in love with that game.
Well, lovely listeners and watchers and readers of the transcribed podcast, because someone out there may very well be doing it. I doubt it, but they could be. Anyway, this has been episode 170 of the MONG podcast. Well, that just sounds grand. Get it? Get the title now? Makes sense, right? Well, we record usually on Tuesday nights, but we're also all adults and we have full-time jobs. So that might change a little bit, but we'll keep you updated. Follow us on Twitter at... what is our Twitter account? Mong. No, that's not it. Oh, that is it. Mong.com with a dot spelled out. Follow us there. You'll see when we're going live, or if we have updates and information to share with you. You can you can email us at contact.mong@gmail.com, and of course, as I mentioned, Mong Twitter account, mong.com, dot is spelled out. You can find us on YouTube at Mong Network, and you can find us on Facebook, Tumblr, and Instagram. And check out the website itself, the home base, middleofnowheregaming.com, for all the latest editorials, news, reviews, and pictures of squirrels, because that's what we're also going to start posting, I guess. As I said, we have to do it clearly. And also, if you want to be awesome and help us keep the lights on, we do have a Patreon, and that can be found at Middle of Nowhere Gaming. If you can donate or want to, we'd be very, very appreciative. And if not, we still appreciate you for watching, listening, reading, and writing, and taking those pictures of the squirrels out in your tree that throw acorns at your window at night. There we go. It's called Stream of Consciousness, folks. It's fun sometimes. And last but not least, if you want to find us, these specific people, on Twitter, I am Furious Milk.
Fanboy_Adam.
It's a CD_Cobb, although I never tweet.
Me neither.
I tweet enough, I guess, to say that I have an account. Anyway, if you didn't catch one of those, you just don't know how to spell them, do check out the podcast on YouTube. You'll see it right there, spelled out on screen for you at all times. And beyond that, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. And listeners and watchers, it has been a pleasure. And we will see you at some point. I was trying to come up with a Cowboy Bebop thing to say, like, see you, Space Cowboy.
Zowie.
Say your outro.
I did. I said Zowie.
Not you, Chris.
But I'm hungry. I didn't know Zowie was his outro.
It's not.
Things
He
have
keeps
changed.
changing it. No, he's just changing it weekly
okay.
now. Anyway, it's been fun, folks. Y'all have a good week.